Hey, thanks for taking the time out to join us here on Polk Place. I'm Brian Lacey, and joining me in studio is AJ Rodriguez. He's the president and founder of Swan Forums Incorporated. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Talk to me a little bit about how Swan Forums Incorporated started.
So the story behind Swan Forums as an organization came about really through the work of me and my team. It's a small working class group of millennials. And we noticed over the past couple of years there's been a fundamental collapse of public discourse in this country. And we really didn't know what we could do about it. We didn't know how we could properly address that problem until one day we sat down and we had some lunch and we started throwing ideas, and that's where Swan Forums came.
Talk about some of the things, the tools of the trade that you guys use to engage young voters.
So we want to aim at all voters specifically, but our mission is really aimed at a fundamental problem with what's going on right now insofar as public discourse is concerned. And a really good way to understand what that problem is if we just shine a bright spotlight on it. And as I'm sure some of you at home would know, is when you go online, you'll see on social media or on any media outlet, you'll see that there's a lot of vitriol in our public discourse and a lot of dogmatism and tribalism. And this is really just a symptom of a nation that's forgotten how to have engagement with one another in a civil and concise manner.
Talk about the importance of having open conversations where I respect your opinion, you respect my opinion, and we just agree to disagree.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy attitude to have for the to be able to have conversations. And I think what we've forgotten is that when we have these sorts of conversations, a lot of the ideas that we hold dear to our hearts, they don't actually comprise the totality of our identity or our moral character, right? So it's easy to get passionate, but it would be helpful for us to be emotionally disinterested when we are talking about these subjects. And when I say emotionally disinterested, I'm not saying to be cold and calculating. All I'm really saying is to get your emotions out of the game.
Yeah.
It's important to remember the humanity that we all share with one another. I do want to say, however, that civility is important, and we do want to foster that. We do want to foster engagement because if you haven't noticed, censorship has been a big topic in the news and in politics, and we personally at our organization believe that open conversation and the open exchange of ideas is better than just talking down to other people. But at the same time, once people get to the point of being able to have those civil conversations, they also need to learn how to have them in a truly constructive manner.
Now, you had mentioned the team in the beginning. Talk to me a little bit about the team that you guys have put together and what they bring to the table and their backgrounds.
So I myself, I currently have an associate's degree, and what I bring to the table is as an individual who actually ran for office in 2015. I was only 22 when I ran for Lakeland City Commission. And I really bring that experience of being able to shake hands and talk to a diverse set of individuals in our community who had all sorts of different ideas. And when I ran, I was exposed to actually being given mental resistance to the ideas that I believed in. And I think that's a healthy thing to bring to the table. We have our treasurer who is currently learning Japanese. He wants to teach abroad. And we have our secretary. She likes to remain anonymous.
I love her picture in company photos.
She works a lot. She works incredibly hard, but she's introverted. She doesn't like to be in the spotlight. I can't blame her. It's not for everyone, but public speaking is actually the biggest fear, believe it or not. Our team we're a bunch of working class millennials, and we just wanted to be part of the process for progress.
Talk about the importance of engaging conversation, but making sure that there's a nonprofit out there that's going to benefit from the teachings.
Yes, we believe strongly in our motto, which is that we want to think globally, but we also want to act locally, which is why when we raise money, we want to send that money somewhere locally instead of sending it to some international organization. And if you go to our website, you'll see that we're partnered exclusively with local charitable organizations in Polk County and in the Lakeland area.
So what does the future hold for you? When will we see conversation? When will we see debates? How do we go about getting involved?
So we're planning on having a public debate, which will be free admission, around late January to early February of next year. We're still searching for a venue, and we're still searching for sponsors and speakers to get involved. And our first debate's actually going to be over a very hot button issue, which is going to be over reproductive rights, so the abortion debate. We felt that'd be a great debate to start our organization with, and it really is something that is going to be on the ballot not only next year for any local elections, but it's also going to be on the ballot in 2024.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about something that you had mentioned a little bit ago. You said it was millennials that started it up and had a voice, but the cool thing that you said, it's not just for millennials, it's to engage everyone in the thought process, in the conversation. Talk about the importance of everyone being involved.
Well, if as anyone who's read up on civics and our Constitution, we are a federalist constitutional republic, which is a form of representative democracy. And the founders wrote extensively about the duty it takes to actually make one of these systems work. And part of that includes being an informed and an educated electorate. And part of that process involves being able to have an open-ended civil exchange of ideas with one another. And it's important that we all get involved in it because the country is comprised of all of us, right? And that's why we feel this is important, because ultimately the best tool we have for any progress in this country or in the world in general is the tool of conversation. And if we're not talking to one another, well, you can see what's happening. It's not very constructive.
Inspire those to get involved, inspire those to become a part of what you're doing, inspire them to really tune in.
So if you've seen the debates that recently occurred during the midterms, you probably noticed that the debate moderators would ask very specific questions, and some of the questions you might not even care about. And even more, they would ask complex questions, then give their candidates only 90 seconds to answer. That's not what we're offering. We're offering a true, long-format, intellectual discussion where you can get involved with the speakers at the end of the debate to ask the questions you think are the most important. If that's what you want to see, and if you really want to see all sides of the political spectrum fairly platformed without any shrewd editing and without any bias, then our organization is on your side and we could really use the support. So please visit swanforums.org.
Well, AJ, I want to thank you for coming in today, and as the first round of conversations come about, come back in and let's promote it for you. I'd love to see you again.
Thank you for having me.
By providing platforms for important conversations and by using such stages to promote local charities, Swan Forums Incorporated hopes to elevate community discourse while helping improve society through the advocacy and advancement of charitable organizations in the city of Lakeland. Now, if you need more information, you can check them out on the web at swanforums.org or follow them on Facebook at Swan Forums.